Hey there, baseball fans, and welcome to the latest episode of Coffee and Curveballs. I'm Nathan Rohde, alongside Shooter Hunt, as we roll through the 2019 recruiting classes. Shooter, we've done the Power 5 conferences, so now we're on to the mid-majors, but we got another name for them.
They're the power majors, Rohde. We're talking about national championships, regional hosts, super regionals. It doesn't matter who comes into town. These are power majors. They'll take on anybody.
No doubt. A lot of these teams that we talk about year in, year out from non-Power 5 conferences could easily compete in the Power 5 conferences, obviously on a national level too. Some of these teams, aren't necessarily on a national level, but you talk about going to super regionals. Some of these recruiting classes could help some of these teams get over that regional hump further into the postseason. So it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out, but let's get talking about them. The first one we're going to talk about, we're out west in BYU. The Cougars, not necessarily known as a big-time baseball program, but you look at this class, and there's some very familiar names if you're following draft coverage.
Yep.
Cutter Clausen, left-hander out of Laguna Beach High School. I mean, pretty projectable kid. He was at area code games. We saw him out there. We like him. Infielder Peyton Cole, Palo Verde High School out of Nevada. Got Tyson Heaton, who's a strong right-hander out of Ukaipa. It's a pretty good program. And then for a couple of arms from Utah, Cy Nielsen, strong left-hander with a solid mix across the board, feel for pitching, some projection there. And then a guy that I personally like, Carter Smith. It's a little funky. There's some effort. Might have that reliever profile for him. But the stuff that comes out is pretty electric.
And Rohde, I've already told you we talked about it on the podcast, but I'm calling dibs on that Provo Regional in a couple of years because these guys all get to campus. You're looking at a really strong, quality crop of pitchers that can really guide a staff and potentially get to Omaha.
Yeah, they seriously could. If you get all these guys to campus, that's a pretty strong look for BYU. Whether they get there or not remains to be seen because there's definitely some draft buzz on a few of these guys. And I'm sure the Cougars and their staff will be sweating it right up until the draft finishes out with its 40 rounds. But shifting further over to the west, on the west coast, we got Cal Poly SLO. Brock Lee and Shane Sasaki are the two top recruits. They're both top 500 recruits, but they're actually in the top 100. So there's definitely some draft implications here.
Yep.
Shane Sasaki from Hawaii. We saw him at area code games. We like the feel for hit. Add some strength there. He's got some speed. You could be really looking at a dynamic player. But really the big guy in this class is Brooks Lee. Shortstop, went off at area code games. This dude can absolutely hit both sides of the plate. Good defender. He's an okay runner, so whether or not he stays at short remains to be seen. Second base, third base, offensive profile certainly works. A lot of draft buzz around him. But the reason he's not a slam dunk to sign, he's the son of the head coach. So chance to play with your dad at Cal Poly in college might make him a tough sign.
Yeah, and both of them, like you said, aren't fully developed yet physically. I think they're going to add a ton of muscle once they get on campus, so that may affect their draft stock a little bit just with how high it's going to be now. But they get on campus after 3 years, you're talking about two of the premier guys in the country. They already are right now, but shoot, Slow's really going to want to get those guys there.
They certainly are. So shifting over to the Midwest now, we got Cincinnati. And Shooter, I know you're looking at this team. You really like them. A lot of Midwest talent. We talk a lot about, that being a pipeline for a lot of schools. Cincinnati's certainly taking advantage of where they're located.
Oh, yeah. The American Conference is a major conference, especially in baseball, basketball, football. Shoot, they got a national champion in UCF, right? But this class, they did a great job. Cameron Sheeler, top 500 guy, catcher out of Kentucky. Big, strong, physical kid with some power projection. One of the guys that I think is a key to this class, Joseph Powell, out of Ohio, can do a lot of different things. He can play shortstop. He can catch. He can play the outfield. Shoot, if you threw him on the mound, I bet he would get outs. But good-looking ball player, can really swing the bat. Not the biggest physical guy, but I think while on campus, he's going to be a guy in the American that other pitchers are not going to want to face. So he's a really good one. Zach Siegel out of Ohio, another guy, might be the sleeper of the class. It's a lower slot from the right side, but the ball jumps out of his hands. J.D. Heilman does a great job with the pitchers there. I think he's going to get him to sink it even more throughout his time there, and he could be a filthy closer at some point. And then Ben Vore, 6'3", 210 pounds, looks like a linebacker on the field. He's been up to 90. There's way more in the tank It's a little bit raw on the mound right now, but again, JD does a great job with those guys. This entire Cincinnati class, it's a bigger group, about 15 guys or so. It's going to really help them in the AAC.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of the AAC, we got East Carolina, perennial power in the conference, also nationally. I mean,
in the country.
They're hosting year in, year out. If not, they're going to another regional and giving somebody a real run for their money. They got 4 guys in the top 500 in Cody Benton, Zach Agnos, A.J. Wilson, and Skylar Brooks. Cody Benton, his brother, is there, as well as Zach Agnos. His brother is at ECU. Yep. Not sure that those guys will get a chance to play with their brothers again because the older brothers are draft prospects as juniors. Mm-hmm. But still, Cody Benton, right-hander. I've seen him in the high 80s with some arm side sink. Certainly room for more velocity there down the road. Zach Agnos, shortstop with a quick bat, some gap power. Also been up to 90 on the mounds. Potential two-way possibility there, I guess. And then Skylar Brooks is a guy I liked. I saw him at an East Coast Pro tryout. Looks like a good college player. I saw him on the mound. High 80s fastball from a varied arm slot. But then he's got an aggressive swing with solid bat speed as well. The ball was jumping off his barrel at that East Coast Pro tryout. So nice little group for East Carolina here with 4 top 500 guys.
Yeah, Cliff Godwin's doing a great job there. And if you ever get a chance to go to ECU, anybody watching, it's a great setting for a college baseball game. You see a big game there, they get rowdy. Love the outfield fans there. They take no pity on opposing teams when they come in. But ECU, great place to play. They're bringing in great talent. And you have regionals, super regionals going through there. You do not want to go to that place.
No, you don't. Heading over to the Pacific Northwest now, we've got Gonzaga. Certainly been known for churning out some pitching in recent years. Certainly no different with this class, but also got some infielders to keep an eye on. Some West Coast talent. I mean, you got Pacific Northwest guys, but also some guys from California coming in with this class.
Yeah, and William Kempner is one of those California arms from that Valley Christian NorCal program, which produces a lot of talent. Mm-hmm. I got a chance to see him. Really like the slots, a little bit lower. Going to have a chance to have 3 above average pitches, but the fastball has that arm side run, gets some sink to it, really bears in on right-handers. The more that he develops, about 6 foot 6'1", so I think he gets to campus, although he's going to be up in the low 90s in the spring. But has a chance to be a weekend guy while there. Gabe Hughes, you and I both watched this summer down in SoCal at the area code games. Mm-hmm. He's out of Idaho, so still going to need a little bit of polishing just because he hasn't played as much baseball. But again, with what you said, Gonzaga's really done a great job developing pitchers.
Yeah, they certainly have. So a few guys there to keep an eye on.
Also Colmanado.
Can't forget about Colmanado.
That's my guy from Huntington Beach. Great program. So you're bringing up a winner from SoCal, can really defend. Shoot, everybody in Southern California can defend up the middle. So a really strong class for the Zags here, and they continue to be one of those power majors.
Indeed. So back over to the East Coast now, looking at Villanova, last year's national champions in basketball. But now you're looking at the baseball team's got a pretty good crew coming in. You got one guy in the top 500 in Cole Vanderslice. I know, Shooter, this is a class that you've been talking about pretty consistently.
Yeah, we just talked about Gonzaga. Now we're talking about Villanova. People are going to think we're going into the basketball realm here. But no, Villanova. Cole Vanderslice, right-hander from St. Augustine High School, South Jersey, produced a plethora of arms in the last decade. They just churn them out. Big draft picks. Vanderslice has been the ace for a couple years there, can really spin a slider. Having him as a potential Friday night guy almost immediately to get that experience under his belt is going to be huge for this class because he gets those swings and misses. You're also looking at Jack Povey, who has to look 3-pitch mix, sometimes 4 pitches in there, slider, curveball. But he looks like a weekend guy in his time there. It comes out nice and easy. And then Brandon Siegenthal, another big right-hander who can throw pretty hard. Having those 3 guys coming in the same class, being potential full weekend staff, that makes this class one of the better ones in the power majors.
Excellent. Wrapping up our talk about the power majors, we got Xavier, really a Midwest school, but 2 top 500 recruits. They went coast to coast to bring in the talent in this class.
Yeah, they're not messing around. They're going all the way out to Oregon. They'll go down to Texas. They'll go to the East Coast, and obviously mining the Midwest talent. But Jack Crumbach at the top. 6'4" runner, left-handed stroke. This looks like a center fielder, leadoff hitter, crazy athletic. He's going to fill out even more. Eventually, if he's not drafted this year and gets to campus, I'm thinking over time, over the next 2-3 years, he moves up in those top 3 rounds. He has that type of athleticism, so it's big to get him. Jonathan Kelly from out in Oregon, not too far from me. We saw him out at area code. I think he can stick at third base. Strong kid, can swing it, but he also hops on the mound. So providing that depth and getting some key outs out of the bullpen maybe as a Sunday guy, hitting in the 3 or 4 hole after a couple years on campus, that would be big for Xavier too.
Yeah, it certainly would.
I mean, Ben Peoples, he's a Tennessee product, right-hander. Ball flies out of his hand. And he was one in Jupiter. His name's starting to get the talk for the MLB draft just because of the way the arm works. It's about 6'1" or so has a chance to get to campus. But you're looking at a potential Friday night guy, the premier draft talent of the Big East over time in the next 2 to 3 years again. But having a Friday guy come in like Ben Peoples, and shoot, he's going to be throwing to Mason McLeod, a guy they picked up late out of Indiana. Good receiving catcher, can get it done behind the plate. And then another arm. Sorry, Rody, I'm going off. But Jared Gadd out of Kentucky, another athlete that I love. He's probably been up to 88, 89. There's way more in the tank. Looks like a shortstop on the mound, can spin it. I think he's going to get way better at Xavier. This is a really nice class.
Excellent. Good look there at Xavier. So that's a look at your power majors. We went a little bit more in depth and even had some more schools on the podcast. So be sure to jump on prepbaseballreport.com to find that. If you like Coffee and Curveballs, be sure to subscribe. It's a new week, the new year. We're heading to Dallas pretty soon to go to the ABCA conference. So if you're there, come by booth 1545. Say hello. We'll have a couple of episodes of Coffee and Curveballs coming out of there. Shooter, you're going to talk to Kendall and Aaron from D1 Baseball about the upcoming college season. David Seifert and I will chime in on some college draft stuff as well. And then at the end of the month, it's time to start talking about the Super 60. So stay tuned for that because that roster is shaping up pretty good. But as always, for Shooter Hunt, I'm Nathan Rohde. This was Coffee and Curveballs. And until next time, we'll see you guys at the ballpark.